Hello, I'm Ben Mankiewicz. Thanks for joining us tonight on TCM. Up next, more with January's Star of the Month, Jean Arthur. She returns in a movie made toward the end of her Hollywood career. From Paramount in 1948, directed by Billy Wilder, also with Marlene Dietrich and John Lund, A Foreign Affair. Arthur plays a U.S. Congresswoman from Iowa visiting Berlin just after World War II. She's on a fact-finding mission to examine the morale and, to some extent, the morals of troops carrying out the post-war American occupation. What she finds is a vibrant black market ripe with illicit behavior. Case in point, one American Army officer, that's John Lund, is having an affair with a German cabaret singer suspected of being a Nazi collaborator. Cabaret singer is obviously played by Marlene Dietrich. Her allure is impossible to deny, but the officer is so desperate to hide the affair from Arthur, he considers seducing Arthur to throw her off the scent. That's a good, thoughtful plan. What could possibly go wrong there? A Foreign Affair marked Arthur's first film in 4 years. After spending 2 decades making movies, she had grown weary of the business, particularly the cycle of arguing with her boss at Columbia Pictures, Harry Cohn, who was clearly quite comfortable having antagonistic relationships with the stars he had under contract. Arthur's deal with Columbia expired in 1944. According to Hollywood lore, and I would very much like to believe this, Arthur ran through the Columbia lot yelling, "I'm free, I'm free." With that freedom, Jean Arthur chose to return to the stage, accepting the starring role as Billy Dawn in the original production of Born Yesterday. She ultimately left the show during rehearsals in part due to crippling stage fright, which she dealt with her entire professional life. Judy Holliday replaced Jean Arthur as the lead, playing the part for years on Broadway, then winning an Oscar for playing Billy Dawn in the 1950 movie version. Still, Arthur stayed away from the screen until 1948, when Billy Wilder coaxed her back with top billing and a big paycheck. And it was in this film. Here it is, from 1948. Nominated for 2 Academy Awards, one for Charles Lang's black and white cinematography, one for Billy Wilder's screenplay, which he co-wrote with Charles Brackett and Richard Breen. This is A Foreign Affair. A Foreign Affair marked the one and only collaboration for Jean Arthur and writer-director Billy Wilder, which is surprising given that both excelled at comedy and had become famous in the 1930s for their work in screwball comedies. Wilder started out as a screenwriter in Hollywood, writing comedies for other directors. None of them featured Jean Arthur, though. By the time Wilder finally stepped into the director's chair in 1942, Arthur was winding down her film career. A Foreign Affair also marked Wilder's first picture with Marlene Dietrich, though the two had been friends for years. Their friendship was evident on set, and Wilder's obvious affection for Dietrich made Arthur, who was consistently insecure about her performances, even more anxious than usual. She was suspicious that Wilder was favoring Dietrich with his close-ups. After finishing her final scene in the film, Arthur left without even saying goodbye. Years later, however, according to Wilder, he got a phone call from Jean Arthur. "I saw the picture," she said. "That thing when I'm the Congresswoman. It's wonderful," she told him. Coming up, Arthur stars in her last film for Columbia Pictures, a romance from 1944 co-starring Lee Bowman and Charles Coburn. The Impatient Years is next on TCM.
Next on TCM, The Impatient Years, then Third Finger, Left Hand, and later, Lady of the Tropics. TCM's on Island Time tonight.